Oh, it's on. Okay. Welcome, everybody. It's so nice to have a big crowd on this cold and chilly night. I'm Sharon Brightweiser. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are getting ready for our monthly PVA meeting. As you can see, we will start as usual with two 5-minute speakers, and we'll have a little bit of time for questions after those. And then anybody is welcome to speak for 2 minutes about anything else. A lot of you have filled out cards. If you haven't filled one out and decide that you're something you want to talk to, just come find me at the table. We'll make sure and get your card to the moderator. We do enforce the time limits for all of our speakers, so we'll have a 30-second card that will get displayed when you're at 30 seconds, and you should be able to see that from up here. I don't see it up right now, but it will be raised. And then if you hit your time limit of 2 or 5 minutes, there will be a bell to alert you to that. You can wrap up. So yeah, there we go. Now you know what you're in for. So I am a member of the board. We have a number of other board members here. We have Allie Grossman and Roger McDaniel and Klaus Halpsgut and Mike Selmer. Jim and Marion Erdilly are not with us this evening because they're out of town. They are kind of our fearless leaders, but we're gonna muddle through without them here. Progressive Voter Alliance does not endorse any candidates or issues, but we're always glad to hear about all issues and candidates, of course. We will be sending around a donation bucket. If you are so inclined to put a little bit of money in there, that would be great. It's completely voluntary, but we really do appreciate that. So before we start, we have a tradition that we take about 2 minutes, which may extend into 3 or 4, but start with a couple of minutes to have a little bit of time to visit with one another. You can find someone that you don't know, get a little bit better acquainted, tell them about yourself, or maybe there's someone you haven't seen in a while, an old friend that you'd like to get caught up with. So please feel free to visit, and we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Thank you so much.
Huh? Pardon? Okay. We're ready. All right. Okay, thank you all for coming out this evening. We have quite a turnout and we have a large number of people wishing to speak, and so we're going to be pretty strict about time limits, and also if you have questions, please make it in the form of a question and not a statement so that we can have as many of the questions answered as possible. We're going to start tonight with the mayor, Sharon Cumbie, who is going to speak about the Laramie Stormwater Management Program. Sharon? Cumbie, excuse me.
I've been called much worse. So, alrighty. Well, I've missed coming here. We've had extra council meetings with council in the Albany County, and they've been on Mondays and Tuesdays, so it's really nice to be here. I'm here to talk today about something that affects every one of us, whether we notice it or not, and that's our city stormwater management program. We're taking important steps to strengthen that program, and I'd like to share a little bit about why it matters, what we're doing, and how we're working to make the funding structure more fair and effective. So why does stormwater management matter? First, for the protection of our community, to prevent flooding, to protect property, and to ensure public safety. Secondly, the environmental impact that street flooding has on our rivers, lakes, and groundwater. Currently, the Wyoming Department of Environmental Quality has designated the Laramie River as impaired due to the runoff of silt. So, if not addressed within the next few years, Laramie could face mandatory measures to restore river quality. Third, aging infrastructure. Laramie's surface water system captures our rainfall, irrigation waters, and snow melt, and conveys this water out of the community into the river. Unlike with potable water and sewer utilities, the surface water utility has never had a dedicated fee to support operations. Our current system is outdated and under strain from increased development and lack of proactive renewal of our stormwater infrastructure. And last, climate resilience. There have been more frequent extreme weather events. We have an increase in rain occurring, and you'll see that in our streets after a heavy 15-20 minute rain, we're driving through water for an hour and a half to 2 hours while it slowly drains into the system that we have. And what do we have? We have a citywide system of drains, pipes, retention and detention areas that collect the stormwater and drain it toward the river. The challenge is we've grown significantly over the last 20 years, and existing infrastructure no longer is adequate to drain the water that we have. There has not been major work on our system for 50 years. What we have been doing is a reactive system of repair and minimal maintenance. And what we are trying to move toward is basic to moderate, where we're able to clean out the system and to increase the capacity that we have for moving water. So what could go wrong with our plan? It turns out that for the average person, it's about $10 a month. For the average, that's about 97%, 98% of residential. For businesses, it averages $50. But there's 2% outliers where the fees are jaw-dropping. And that is what we're trying to address. We are looking at who those outliers are and what we can do to maybe set a cap and to work with the affordability for the community. And that went really fast. So I believe that council has a duty to act and that we all benefit from a safer, cleaner, and more resilient city. That we cannot build our economy without having adequate infrastructure. You just can't do it. Thank you. Wow, that's the fastest 5 minutes I've ever seen.
It was quick. Well, what we do after the 5-minute speakers is take time for 2 questions. Then after all of the 2-minute speakers have spoken, then we'll circle back around and you'll have a chance to ask a couple of questions of the 5-minute speakers as well as the 2-minute speakers. So do we have a couple of questions for the mayor? And Klaus will bring the microphone forward. Allie?
I'm sure you've looked at models of what other cities in Wyoming and across the U.S. are doing with either billing the residents or taxation. Could you talk about other cities?
Yes, we have currently 4 cities in the state of Wyoming that have implemented stormwater fee. 2 have done a flat fee for the entire city, and these are smaller cities. The 3rd, Cheyenne, has a program similar to ours based on impervious surface as a unit of measure, and they are set to implement in January. So theirs is very similar to our fee. The cost is a little less. It would be the equivalent of about $1.20 for 500 square feet. But so that's what we have right now. There are other cities that are moving toward that measure.
Gentleman back here, and would you give us your name?
Thanks, Mayor. I guess the biggest controversy is whether this is a fee or if it's a tax. And
Right.
there appears to be a conflict in the statute, Title 15 versus Title 16. And we've heard that there is going to be litigation. Do you know how much that is going to cost the city, the litigation, defending the litigation?
It would be impossible to say how much, but I will say that we're currently in discussions with individuals at the university. I think that they probably, what they're proposing is they probably will move forward, and this is not necessarily a challenge to the city, but rather it's a challenge to the legislature and to the governor and to the Attorney General's office who approved Title 15. And so if the suit does move forward, then the Attorney General's office will also be joining in that. And it's probably something we do need to look at, and we do need to see if those 2 are in opposition to those 2 titles to that. And so we would like to kind of work our way through it. And we are scheduling a meeting for November where leaders from the city and the university come together and just try to talk things out. Thank you. All righty. Thank you.
Our next 5-minute speaker is an old friend, Lisa Kinney, who served Albany County in the state Senate a year or two ago, and glad to have her here tonight to talk about public lands and H.R. 1, what some call the big beautiful bill and others call by other names. So, Lisa, please.
Now, you know, if I don't put my glasses on, I can't see back there. So where am I getting there? Okay, all right. I just had to locate my person. And mine is a little more political than that. Because, can I start? Is it now? Okay, because, oh, thank you. And I'll get a little closer. All right, thanks. Because of President 47, as an attorney, our Constitution is being violated. As a librarian, my First Amendment rights are being violated. As a woman, my determination over my body is being violated. As a Wyomingite, Wyoming is being violated by the big, ugly, broken bill that has been passed. And I'm going to be talking about that and probably concentrating a little bit on Harriet Hageman because she has passed so many bills that are damaging to Wyoming land. And I've known Harriet for 36 years. She took my bar refresher course in 1989. I like Harriet. But the problem is when people get elected, sometimes they change. And I've found that that she has changed and has been voting for terrible bills that are really hurting us. And do you want to know what this is? This is the size of the bill that they all got. And as an attorney and as a legislator, I thought, I'm going to see if I can download it, which I did, and read it the same time they did, so to see if we could find, you know, if anyone could get through that. I don't think any of them read it. And because when you read through a bill, it doesn't just read the words. You have to go to another statute and another statute. There are probably 5,000 statutes. None of them read the bill. And so let's take another week. And the Senate had the bill. They made a lot of changes. You take 15 pages away, and that bill came back. And you know how long it took the House to pass that bill? 2 days. They passed it in 2 days. What this bill does is unbelievably damaging to our public lands, and that's the other thing I'm kind of focusing on, is what this does to our public lands. And again, looking kind of at Harriet Hageman, what she did on H.R. 1, the big broken bill, she did a companion bill with Senator Lee from Utah. The initial version of their bill was to get rid of millions of acres of BLM and Forest Service public lands across 11 states, calling on Congress to hand it all over except Yellowstone Park. And then, due to a ruling by the parliamentarian that the initial sales were not permissible under the budget reconciliation rules and required 60 votes, they revised it. Lee and Hageman revised the bill down to taking only 0.7, 0.5% of the public land for useless, it was useless Wyoming land for residential housing projects. So at the end, she said, Harriet Hageman said, I never tried to get rid of all those millions of acres, but she did. You just have to look at the second bill, or the first bill instead of the second bill. And she put comments on H.R. 1 saying 3 things, and these really sound good. It unleashes coal companies, it accesses more of our oil and gas, and increases timber production. But what happens is it offers, H.R. 1 offers massive handouts to the fossil fuel industry, offering up public lands to oil and drilling and fracking for bargain rates. And then it reduces the revenue paid to American people from oil and gas from 17% to 12.5%. And royalties from coal are down from 12.5%, which was set 100 years ago, to 7%. It reinstated the practice of non-competitive competitive leasing to allow companies to scoop up leases on public lands for $1.50 an acre when they don't receive bids at an auction. So they can be staked up for years. Hard rock mining can be staked now across a vast majority of 11 states for $49 a claim, and then they don't have to be extended indefinitely, which they used to, if you pay $200 a year, and then you don't have to do anything to them, so you can keep them forever. So they can, people can take them and keep them forever without us getting the money. Timber sales, the Forest Service and BLM have to increase the timber production by 250 million board feet each year over the next previous years. And what are the problems? The Forest Service used to get 25% of the sale of these board feet sale, and that was eliminated. No more. They don't get it because this money, it caused clear cuts, disruption of ecosystems, threatening wildlife species, and the new money is going to pay for tax cuts. The Forest Service also has to enter into at least 40 long-term, is that 30 seconds? Yikes, I'm not through yet. So let me see. Let me tell you this, our public lands should be protected and not ruined or sold. Mark Elias said we each have our own platform, and we need to take the platform, whatever it is, our friends, our workers, and work every single day, because if we don't work every single day to make things different, our country is going downhill, and we're going to lose everything, all the freedoms that we have as United States citizens. Bye, Dan. So that's it.
All right, do we have a couple of questions for Lisa? Questions? Right here. You're going to get a microphone from Klaus.
Yeah, so Representative Hageman said that she's not trying to sell our public lands, and that was a misunderstanding, but you talked about a second bill or an amendment that she made. Can we get a copy of that so that we can point to it when we talk to her?
She has a letter, and in that letter, what it says is, I've never tried to sell millions of acres. And you can just pull up the letter where it says what I've said about this bill, and then it says, go down, read the bill, is what she puts on it, so you can touch on the bill, the second one, and read it. But the first one is there. She's denying the existence of the first one, but the second one is there.
Another question for Lisa? Anyone? All right, Lisa, thank you.
Thanks.
For your prop. All right, we'll move to the 2-minute speakers now, and the first one on my list is Dennis Cook to update us on the nursing home. Dennis?
Well, thank you very much, and this group has been key to what we've done over the past year with regard to the nursing home. So it's never been a question about whether the current nursing home needs to be replaced. It's old as I am, or older, so its core buildings were built in the 30s and 40s and last really updated in the 60s and early 70s. So there's no question that the facility is inadequate. Forget about operations. But we were prevented because of some laws that protected it. So from participation of the community and efforts in the legislature, letters to legislators, the law changed, and so now there is no restriction on an additional competing nursing home being built. Now the question is, who should do that? And again, I'm a member of the board of trustees at the hospital, but there is a separate board of directors that actually do the day-to-day management of the hospital. And as I've talked to them, both groups, they all concede it needs to be changed and replaced. So the question becomes, who pays? And the who pays in my mind, and I think in a lot of people's mind as we've gone through with public comments and things, is the hospital is very good hospital. And there are $340 million of reserve monies available in the hospital to do something with. And so I think that's where participation helps. So we had a meeting on August 20th. 100 of you and other citizens came out and made it very clear to the Board of Trustees that it was important to change it. We're going to have a meeting in November. We'll announce that about 17th or 18th of November, and that will then be another time to get another 85 or 100 people to come help the public board understand the public will. So thank you very much.
Once we finish with all of the 2-minute speakers, you'll have an opportunity to ask any of them a question. So if you had a question for Dennis, keep it in mind. The next speaker is Darren Wyatt, candidate for sheriff in 2026.
Good evening. My name is Darren Wyatt, and I'm going to be running for sheriff in 2026. I'm here as a Republican candidate, and I've been told that a lot of Republicans don't come to your meetings, and I'm here to show respect. That's why I'm dressed up. Next time I'll dress down for you guys. But I've been a resident of Albany County for about 6 years. I own 2 businesses here. One is a woodworking business that I have product at Benton Rusty. The second is I do the pre-employment backgrounds for the Laramie Police Department. I've been in law enforcement for 37 years. I currently still work part-time for the Laguna Beach Police Department doing cold cases, but I've done virtually everything in law enforcement. I retired from the Anaheim Police Department with 33 and a half years of service there, and I worked homicide, gangs, vice, narcotics. I was the public information officer for 5 years, and I've done virtually everything except for write tickets. Crime in Albany County is no different than crime anywhere else in the nation, just on a smaller scale, but it can happen in a blink of an eye without warning, without notice that you have a major incident. And who do you want to manage that incident? Somebody who has the experience and has done it successfully, or somebody who's going to have to scratch and ask questions and try and muddle through it. But I've been married for 31 years. I have 2 adult children. My daughter lives in Wisconsin with her life partner and works for public health department in Dunn County, Wisconsin. My son is 24. He lives here in Laramie, not with us, but lives in town and works at a local restaurant. But again, I'm here to show that I believe that the sheriff's office should be a nonpartisan position because you serve the entire community, not a specific political party. And I'll be around afterwards if anybody has any questions or if you have questions later. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And the next speaker is Sylvia Bagdonis to talk about the trap release workshop. Sylvia?
Hello. I just wanted to remind you all that tomorrow evening from 6:30 to 8, we are sponsoring the trap release workshop at the Holiday Inn. And I encourage everyone to come, because unfortunately we keep getting reports of people out hiking, walking, and their dogs get trapped. And you must know how to release your pet rapidly, because otherwise they will be injured or they might not make it at all. And we're really thrilled to have a great speaker. Dave, who is our trainer, has had over 40 years of experience working not only in the United States, but all over the world, working with animals in crisis, conservation, and so forth. And when he was young, he was a trapper and has changed his ways and now wants to educate people about what they can experience if they're involved in that situation. I will pass out these small cards. They're reminders about the workshop. So if you get up tomorrow and say, let's see, what time was that? Where is it? You will have it. Or if you want to tell your friends and family members to come, then you can hand them one of these. Thank you.
Ed Council is next, and Ed's going to talk about ARE PSC. Ed?
Yeah, first of all, I hadn't planned on speaking tonight, but I kind of got corralled into this. And I'd like to reinforce what Sylvia said, because I'm the owner of one of the dogs that was trapped. And that dog was trapped, my dog was trapped 20 feet from a parking space at the end of 712 AA Forest Service Road, right up here off of Happy Jack. I know what it's like to have a dog scream at the top of its lungs, caught in a trap. And I had to haul her 1.5 miles in a snowstorm back to the car and take her to the vet. There is no money, no responsibility, no liability by any trapper for destroying a person or an animal. This release workshop is very important. Most people don't even realize how many traps are up there, or snares. That wasn't my speech. I'm part of ARE, the Alliance for Renewable Energy here in Laramie. We've worked with City Council, we've worked with the Environmental Advisory Committee, and some of you may not pay attention to your electric bill, but there has been slow creep in your rates from Rocky Mountain Power. One of them, I noticed, is $3 a brand new charge for a hookup, just tying your house into the electric lines. So what's been decided by the Sierra Club and other groups in the area is the PSC, Public Service Commission, will be holding hearings on the rates and the IRP, I forget all these acronyms. What is it? Integrated Resource Plan. Thank you, expert. That puts us into this, and that's the plan that Rocky Mountain Power is supposed to follow. And it turns out that according to the people who've looked at this plan, it's not going to select the most economical sources. They're shying away from renewable resources. So I'll let you guess why. I'll point which way's east. Over there, over the hill, in that. Did you see what they're doing to the White House anyway? Anyway, what they're going to do is hold a mock hearing to let people present their views on Rocky Mountain's request, the IRP, and the Public Service Commission. It is a mock hearing to give you practice and give you an understanding of what's going to take place. This is going to be Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, the 29th of October, at the Lincoln Center over in West Laramie. And we invite you all to attend. I believe the time is 5:30. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, thank you.
By the luck of the draw, our next speaker is Emma Jones to talk about Rocky Mountain Power's 2025 Integrated Resource Plan.
This is perfect. Thank you for the introduction, Ed. That was great. Yeah, so my name is Emma Jones, and I am an organizer with the Wyoming chapter of the Sierra Club. And like Ed, the Sierra Club has been involved with Rocky Mountain Power's Integrated Resource Plan, and he kind of outlined why it's important. IRPs are a roadmap for what energy resources a utility plans to invest in. And so for monopoly utility companies like Rocky Mountain Power, they're responsible for creating the mix of energy resources that are going to be least cost, least risk for their customers. We think that this IRP is not going to do that for customers. Like Ed said, they're basically delaying investments in renewables. They're still eventually going to need to make those investments to meet energy needs, but they're delaying it so far out into the future that in the meantime we're kind of left out of luck. And with the federal tax credits for renewable energy projects being phased out, they're basically losing out on billions of dollars to invest in renewables now. They're also planning on installing carbon capture at Jim Bridger, which we think is a risky investment, considering that they haven't conducted the necessary feasibility studies. It's a very expensive, costly investment when we could be instead retiring coal plants that are no longer economically beneficial to customers. They're also delaying coal plant retirements that they had originally planned. And so ultimately, we think this is going to be a bad deal for ratepayers and the climate. So we're taking action. We're asking the PSC, the Public Service Commission, to not acknowledge the plan. The Public Service Commission actually never scheduled the hearing that they said they would give us. And so the event on October 29th at 6 p.m. Is to collect actual verbal testimony and written comments that we are going to submit to the Public Service Commission. Thank you.
All right, next is Kathleen Selmer to talk about postcards.
Hi. If you came to the protest on Saturday, thank you for helping to defend democracy. I think Peggy's here. Thank you for coordinating that. One of the things that was said afterwards is we can't stop here. We have to keep going. And one of the things you can do, I have postcards here that say, I literally want my tax dollars to support national parks, science, education, conservation, mental health, and helping marginalized people, in case that wasn't clear. So that message is on the front. You just address it. If you want to write more on the back, you can. So I have a bunch of these. If anybody would like some to write to your representatives, I'll be in the back after the meeting. Thank you.
And now Mike Selmer to talk about Laramie Valley Jackalopes and Thanksgiving Downhill Mile.
Hi, the Laramie Valley Jackalopes are a youth running program. We sponsor a cross-country program in the fall and a track and field program in the spring. We serve 60, 70 kids usually during the fall, and then 120 to 130 during the spring. Over the course of the 4 years that we've been doing this, we've probably getting pretty close to 800 kids that we've had involved with being active and being cooperative with their teammates. And we are holding a fundraising Thanksgiving Downhill Mile, that's this, on November 22nd. It doesn't just benefit our program, but it also benefits the Laramie Middle School running programs, cross-country and track, and the Laramie High School programs. And if you are interested or know someone who might be interested, there's some flyers on the back table there. We'd love to have you come out. If you don't think you are up to running a mile downhill, we're happy to take your donations. So thank you very much.
The next speaker is Rain Goins to talk about Young Democrats of Wyoming.
Hi, thank you everyone. I'm really excited to be here. So I'm here tonight as a representative of the Young Democrats of Wyoming. We are a very newly formed organization here in Laramie. We started talks back in August to start a group in Laramie. We had our first public meeting in September, and we are working to expand membership and form more parties across the state. We have significant interest in Cheyenne right now, which is very exciting. We were involved in this weekend's protest downtown, where we saw the largest turnout we've seen this year. We experienced no significant safety events, which is very exciting. The Young Democrats were able to organize a march where we saw over 100 participants, and we brought the march all the way downtown where we talked about youth issues for several hours at the First Street Plaza. We've seen a lot of excitement and energy from the community as we've started to form. Right now we're focusing on making sure that the community is aware we're here by doing speaking events like this, and we want to bring young faces into our meetings. Our organization's goal is to lower the median age of people involved in politics and to fight the authoritarianism in our current administration. At our next meeting, we will be voting to form a temporary executive board to continue operations until we hold our official election sometime in the spring. With this, we'll be able to continue our collaborations with the Albany County and Wyoming Democratic parties to raise funding and engagement with our group. We will also be having discussions on American fascism and open conversations on how we can begin community change. I'm here tonight to invite all members of the community, both young and old, to our third public meeting, which will be located in this room, November 3rd at 5:30 p.m. Our organization is focused on issues that affect the ages 14 to 36 age group, but we have honorary members all the way from 18 months old to past retirement. So we really do welcome everyone. We think everyone should be more focused on youth issues in our country. Thank you.
And now Aaron O'Doherty to talk about interfaith.
Interfaith Good Samaritan, or now it's just called Interfaith Laramie. Laramie Interfaith is having their Thanksgiving baskets. They have applications online for people that need a basket, and then they're looking for volunteers to deliver baskets on November 15th from 10 to 2 at, to deliver the baskets. No, actually it says they're going to be people come and get them. We'll have to pick them up so we could help distribute baskets. And the deadline to sign up for a basket is November 1st. And you could call Interfaith to get more information. By the way, a lot of people are losing their SNAP benefits as of now. So it would be a good time. Maybe you want to give a gift certificate to Safeway or something. Thanks.
Okay, Klaus, your turn to talk about Albany County Democrats.
I'm emotionally scarred by that bell, by the way. Jim Aradelli would just ring that randomly whenever I'd get up. So anyway, I am Klaus Halbsgut. I wear many hats. One of them is the Albany County Democratic Party chair. So I'm going to be a little bit partisan here. Surprise, surprise. I want to thank the College Dems for showing up tonight, the Young Dems of Wyoming for showing up tonight. And I am pleased to say that we are working together with them to help get both of those organizations, get them more membership, get them stronger, and support them. And I look forward to the collaboration going forward with both of those organizations. They all showed up this weekend on Saturday. By the way, who went to No Kings on Saturday? Can I see your hands? Excellent, great turnout. And it was mentioned, I don't remember who it was that mentioned it, that's not the end. We're not stopping. We're going to stay vocal. We're going to stay engaged. But as fun as that all is, if we want to affect change, we need to get people elected. So I was just listening to a news article on cable from Run for Something. And even if you think you can't, give it a try. We're part of an organization, the Albany County Dems, called Contest Every Race. Doesn't matter if you're young, old, or any combination you can think of. If you want to make a difference in your community, reach out to me, reach out to the Young Dems, the College Dems. We can find you the resources that you need to run for office. How close am I getting on time? 42 seconds. Okay, so please get involved, please get engaged. That's how we will make a difference. The one other thing I want to talk about, parties need money. I know it's a terrible word. We all need to fundraise, and this is how we help get candidates elected. The Albany County Dems have a big fundraiser coming up November 1st. It's our second annual music festival. We will have a boatload of great bands. This is an opportunity to listen to some great music, and we have some very special guests. We have Alicia Andrews, the chair of the Women's Caucus, the DNC Women's Caucus, coming to join with us. We have the vice chair of the DNC, Malcolm Kenyatta coming to spend time with us. And then if you're really feeling generous and you want to get to meet these people more in a one-on-one, there's an after event. VIP tickets are on sale. Albany County, wyodems.org. Go to the tickets button. Support your local county party. Yay!
All right, next is Wendy Chatham to talk about West Side changes.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I'm here today to talk to you about a change to land adjacent to the West Side neighborhood. We call it the 4G property. It is located between, kind of in the middle of the neighborhood, north and south, but between Clark and Garfield and our neighborhood and Snowy Range Road. At the last Planning Commission meeting a week ago, it was, and hello council people, I'll probably see you guys tomorrow night. It was changed from urban industrial to urban residential, and the rezoning from I2 to R3. Residential is probably better than industrial, but I believe that this land has the most value to our city as it is. A sponge, a drain, a floodplain. The new zoning R3 would allow for dense housing next to the river. No exact plans have been proposed as far as I know. Today I wanted to bring this to your attention and let you all know that I am looking into a land swap for this land and would appreciate any suggestions you all might have to get this accomplished. After the Planning Commission meeting last Monday, Brad Enzi, who is representing the landowners, asked me to contact him regarding the possibility of a land swap. And hopefully they are serious about pursuing this possibility. On another positive note, the West Side neighborhood has received a historic designation, which many of us are excited about. Thank you.
Next is Suzanne Luer to talk about Home on the Range Family Fun Fair.
Hi. Thank you. Pam Brecken actually asked me to come talk for her because she's out of town right now, but she wanted everybody to know about this event coming up for Home on the Range. It's actually called Hurrah for the Holidays, but she calls it the Family Fun Fair. It's November 1st, Saturday, November 1st, another event on November 1st, from 11 to 3 at the Albany County Fairgrounds. The first 100 kids will receive a special take-home bag, and crafts that they will be having their take-home crafts will include horse braiding, pipe cleaner animals, kitty ornaments, wool ball making, cookie decorating, balloon animals, cyano-type art, bingo scavenger hunt, pet rock painting, which actually the Wyoming Coalition for Animal Protection will be there doing pet rock painting, so come to our table. Know your poop. Ooh. Discovery microscope station and cornhole. Food and beverages will be available for purchase, and quick draw coffee will be on site. Early bird tickets are $10 and available at LaramieHomeOnTheRange.org. $12 tickets at the door. Home on the Range Animal Haven is the only large animal sanctuary in Laramie. The nonprofit 501c3 organization was established in 2012. For the past 13 years, Hurrah has taken in abused, neglected, and abandoned farm animals suffering from both physical and emotional symptoms who require special support. Through physical, emotional, and social support, the animals that live at Hurrah are transformed and will live out their lives in peace. Thank you. Oh, and I've got some of her flyers on the back table back there, as well as some more of the track release.
Next speaker is Evie Sandine, Heart Mountain Resistors. Oh, excuse me, Eric. Okay. Is Eric here? Oh, come on up.
Hi, I'm Eric Sandine. I used to teach over there at the university. And when I was at the rally on Saturday, the issue of resistance came to mind. And I should say that I'm also a member of the board of directors of the Heart Mountain Foundation, which is the presiding organization for the Heart Mountain Relocation Center up near between Cody and Powell. And I just want to mention that one of the members of our board, Takashi Takasashi, turned 100 years old 2 weeks ago. Tak was a member of the Fair Play Committee who came to Heart Mountain against his will in 1942 with his family, and when he was drafted, refused to serve because he said he would not serve as long as his family was incarcerated by the same army that he was going to participate in. Spent 18 months in the federal penitentiary, came out, earned a PhD from Berkeley, spent years working at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and is one of the nicest people you would ever want to meet. How this person has come to reconcile himself to this culture is just a marvel of patriotism and personal principle. So I would just say to you that visiting Heart Mountain is a really good thing. Bearing witness to what Tak has done is another good thing. And finally, we know who he is, the king. The question now is, who do we think we are? And Tak gives us one good example of who we can become. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. And the last 2-minute speaker is Eric Henderson, Trunk or Treat, Laramie.
It's October, and I want to invite everybody to the Trunk or Treat Laramie. Trunk or Treat Laramie enters its 9th year in Laramie at the University Plaza. Its hosts businesses are along the Trail of Treats, and the Trail of Treats begins and ends at Perkins Restaurant and Bakery right here in Laramie. Ages 15 and under, if they wish to participate, they're more than welcome. The event is free. It is made so by the generosity of many along the Trail of Treats, the businesses that line each foot of the sidewalk, and then those last year 34 trunkers that decorated the rear of their vehicle and joined us in entertaining the youth. And trunk spaces are still available should you wish to do that. I love how much community comes together in October, but I want to thank you guys. PVA Laramie is probably one of the most outstanding organizations that I've come to know in 2025 or the last few years. It's absolutely amazing what we compress into 2 minutes and 5 minutes, and I love it. And the fact that it happens in a compressed fashion is overly amazing. November 11th, our country honors veterans, and the talk shop will honor veterans of Albany County specifically and beyond. If you have family member, I want to encourage you to notify radioworks@mail.com. That email address is where I need your military veterans having served their name, their branch of service. If you have a story about them, I'd love to have you on the Talk Shop in honor of them. It'll be a full day, 24-hour program, and I can't wait for it. I look forward to it year-round, and I appreciate this group again, and invite you guys to Trunk or Treat Laramie as well. There are so many events going on. The Ghostly 5K is on Friday at the Fox Run, 6 p.m. The Possessed Manor starts its first night at the 417 Ivinson Avenue location of the American Legion, and all proceeds will benefit them. The Wyoming Collegiate Cattle Association will collect funds at that as well. And if you have more questions, I'm here after. Thank you.
All right, before we begin our questions, Allie has a quick announcement.
I want to thank Chris Stratton for streaming this. It's always more fun to be here in person and to use those 2 minutes to chat with neighbors. But this is available on Facebook, thanks to Chris and his wife. But there's a comment section there. So if you spoke tonight and there are details, I don't see a lot of people taking notes. Feel free to just write a comment about your organization or issue, and let's use that as a forum. Thank you.
All right, we generally try to finish up by 8 o'clock, but with the number of speakers we've had tonight, we're not going to make that deadline, but I would encourage you, if you have questions, to keep them brief. We have time enough for 2 questions for each. We'll start with our 5-minute speakers and then go through our list of 2-minute speakers to see if there are questions for any of them. And let's start with Sharon. Are there any questions for the mayor? Yes. Come on up, Sharon.
The mic's coming.
Thank you, Mayor Cumbie. I appreciate very much your attention to trying to make the stormwater drainage utility fair, and to fixing problems with it. And I understand there are ambiguities in the law, but there's one part of the law that's not ambiguous. It says a governing body shall not fund a surface water utility until the proposition to impose the means of financing the surface water drainage utility has been submitted to and adopted by the electors. Are we planning to have a vote? And if so, will there be a resolution to schedule an election?
Currently, there are mixed opinions on both Title 15 and 16. I am not a lawyer. Before the city implemented the plan, it was reviewed by a number of legal representatives, both of the city, of Wyoming Association of Municipalities, and was thought to be within the bounds of 15. So we'll have to wait and see how that comes out. We currently do have stormwater management on the specific purpose tax, which will be voted for in May, and that will be for both county and city. And we have designated 7 million of the 45 million that would be part of that for the city to go toward stormwater. We've also seeded from the city reserves, we have seeded 5 million. So we're trying to do, and there are also federal grants. So we're doing things to try and offset that. But the legal question you ask is really going to have to, I think, go through the courts to interpret, because different people have different interpretation of that. And it will probably wind up in the Supreme Court of Wyoming to make that decision.
Another question for the mayor? Klaus?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, for showing up tonight. It's in relationship to what Mr. Glass just said, Title 15, Title 16. I'm not sure if most people here are aware that the biggest landowner in Laramie and Albany County is the University of Wyoming. So if you did propose a Title 16 bill that the voters would vote on, that would be a tax, UW would be exempt. They already are exempt as the biggest landowner in Laramie to pay property taxes. So every time they expand and acquire a little piece of land, the city loses property taxes. So if the university gets away with their lawsuit and can avoid the Title 15 fee, all of us that are private property owners in Laramie, business owners, we will have to pick up the difference and pay what the university, the biggest landowner in our city, is shirking their responsibilities. They use our infrastructure, they use our sewer, they use our water mains, they use all of that. They got a sweetheart deal on the aquifer. We lost somewhere between 3 to 5 million, I heard from a previous mayor. So isn't the big difference on this is between Title 15 and Title 16? Does the biggest landowner get a free ride and the residents of this community come up short? Or can we make this fair and everybody, the biggest landowner and all of us, have a buy-in? Maybe the fees have to be adjusted on the 2%, but isn't that the real big difference between Title 15 and Title 16? Sorry for the long question.
Yeah. And I'm not really versed well enough in law to make that distinction, but I will say that the university owns 31% of the property of Laramie, and in their lawsuit they conclude with that they want to be exempt from tax, fee, and any other charge that the city might levy upon them. And so in order to run a city, almost a third of the city is exempt from taxes, and they get dramatically reduced water fees. They dug a well and have their non-potable now comes from the aquifer. Class 1 water is now watering their lawns and the golf course, etc. And so it just continues. It's anytime we want them to pay any type of fee, they want to be exempted from that. And we just got through a battle with water. We just got through a battle with a hangar at the airport. They just want us to pay the price. And it's bringing us down, and I think it hurts our economy. And I think that's part of why they want this to go to the legislature and to the Supreme Court, because if it's favorable to them, then they will become exempt. And they've already determined that they are a sovereign body and they are exempt from city municipal rules and guidelines. It's tough. A third of the property. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Anyone have a question for Lisa Kinney and Public Lands? Anyone? All right. You have a question?
Quicker this time, I promise.
Would you please?
I will do that. I have a question. I'll make it quick, I promise. Okay, don't know if you all heard, but the Eshelman Corner Crossing case, that got rejected by the Supreme Court. So now 11 states have access to public lands that this rich person was trying to prevent us from. So the question here is, besides legislation and taking it through the courts, what can the average people do to complain about what our government is doing with public lands? How can we get their attention? What would you recommend we do outside of having a whole bunch of money and taking these people to court?
Thanks. I was trying to say it earlier, but I had so many pages worth of stuff to talk about. Mark Elias, have any of you heard of Mark Elias? He's the attorney for many voter registration cases against Trump. And what he says is so important. He says we all have our own platform. And that's why I'm saying, so what you have to do is figure out what your strength is, what your platform is, whether it's your friends, your schools, your churches, your co-workers, and then go and use your platform every single day to do something, because we have to work as a group. We have to work hard. And so I can't tell you what to do, but I just have to, or can tell you, you got to start working every day. What's good about this group, and I've been really impressed, is you all are working on something. And so you can use all those groups that you were talking about, which are wonderful, and include them in talking about what the government is doing, which is really awful right now. And just use whoever, call up your friends, call up your neighbors, have people over for tea, and just start telling them what horrible things are going on. I have one case I want to refer to you about public lands, and it's Center for American Progress, dated 9/22, entitled "The Trump Administration's Expansive Push to Sell Our Public Lands to the Highest Bidder." I'll tell you what, if you're not depressed, read this one. And it's overwhelming. That big ugly bill that I was showing you has so many horrible items in it, because it's 1,000 pages of people randomly putting it in. So you have to become informed. That's the second thing. You have to become informed. I've been asking people where they get their information. And I'd like to ask the 23-year-olds or the 25-year-olds, where are you getting yours? I've been asking younger people, and they say streaming. And I said, do they stream everything? How do you know you're getting everything? So I think or is that what you're saying, you guys are streaming? I was going to say start becoming educated about everything that's going on. Watch Mark Elias, listen to different stations, watch TV. You know, nobody has said at a younger age that I've been talking to that I watch television, I watch news programs, I watch anything, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, watch them all. See what they say, and then take action that you can do in your own life, because it's important.
Thank you.
Yes?
Yes.
Senator Kinney served us in the Wyoming legislature very well, and I'm happy to see her fire. And my question is, would you consider running for office again? Because we could use you. Thanks.
Well, thank you. I am considering it. I'm considering running against Harriet Hageman, actually. And let me tell you something. I'm a Republican. I've been a Republican for 7 years. So if I run, I'm going to be running as a Republican Democrat, because that's what we are. We're all Republican Democrats in the state, or Democratic Republicans, because we have the same beliefs. Every one of your little groups is wonderful. You're getting people together and working on projects that are really enhancing our community. Everything is wonderful that I heard tonight. I just wanted to jump up and scream at everything that you're doing. So thank you, thank you. And I don't know whether I'll do that, but I'd be running on the Republican ticket, which would be kind of interesting. And so it'd be a Republican Democrat I'd be running as, and Patriot.
All right, any questions for Dennis Cook about the nursing home at Ivinson? Yes.
Just a quick question, Dennis. How do we find out when that next meeting is?
So I'll send out one of my letters to the editor, kind of things, and get that out, and then we'll make sure on Boomerang's, weekly agenda what's happening next. So we'll try to get some press coverage of that. And then I'll try to get it out word of mouth, but it's hard to get around. But count on it happening sometime the week of November 17th. So it's 17th, 18th, or 21st, I think, are the days they're trying to put it and try to get a big enough room so this time we don't overflow out into the streets with people who came to the meeting. But good question, and we'll get the word out. Thanks. It's so important that you all come, though, because that made such a difference. I mean, the whole tone of the conversation changed with 100 people, 30 of it making their own comments, saying what a great hospital it is, what a poor nursing home it is. We need to do something about that. Thanks.
Is there another? Anyone else have a question for Dennis? Okay, Dennis, thank you. Oh.
I know when people in Laramie need rehab, they have to go down to Fort Collins or Greeley. A nursing home like that, would they have the ability to help people with the long-term rehab? I don't know if that's the right, like the in-house kind of rehab.
Yeah, the whole plan is to make it a rehab and then also a skilled nursing facility. So, and that's what the idea has always been there, but it's just not being realized very well right now. And so it's something that the county, we can well afford, and we really have the talent at the hospital to make it work. And so it's just bringing all these forces together to spend just a little bit of our, and it's our money. So that 340 million doesn't belong to anybody but all of you. So let's try to focus it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's
all right. Thank you, Dennis. Does anybody have a question for Darren Wyatt, the candidate for sheriff? Yes, Lisa. Is a microphone? You got to get a microphone here.
Okay. All right, thanks. Have you heard of is it the 287 program where
yes,
they bring
287G program.
Right. Are you going to do that?
So,
do you want to tell them what it is?
So the 287G program is a program where local law enforcement can work with ICE. There's different aspects to it. Okay, there's aspects that work with it in the jail. There's aspects that work with it in the field. I am 100% opposed to local law enforcement officers enforcing immigration laws in the field. We need our constituents to trust us. We need them. I came from an agency where 53% of our population was Hispanic, and we probably had 50,000 undocumented immigrants in the city. What we found is when local law enforcement enforced immigration laws, we were having crimes that weren't being reported because those people didn't trust local law enforcement. So I am 100% opposed to local law enforcement enforcing immigration laws in the field. The jail is a separate issue, okay? The jails, people are fingerprinted when they come into the jail. If they have a warrant, by law, we need to work with whatever organization has that warrant. So there's an issue. The conflict is whether an immigration hold is an actual warrant of arrest or if it's a civil document. That's still being worked out by the courts. I know that Laramie County just signed an agreement with ICE. Theirs is more extensive. I know that the governor just had the Highway Patrol sign an agreement. I know in Texas, the governor had signed a law that every county law enforcement organization had to be involved.
If I'm arrested by an ICE agent, would you come and get me? Would you protect me? Or are you going to support them?
Well, if they are arresting you, they're arresting you by law. If I interfere, I'm committing a crime. And I'm not going to commit a crime. Yeah, it's obstructive justice if I go and interfere with a lawful arrest. Well, if it's baseless, that's different, right? But if they're, what are they arresting you for?
I'm just saying, I always think my law enforcement not say, okay, federal people.
So my question to them would be, what is the base of the arrest? If it's a lawful arrest, I can't interfere. If it's not, then yes, I will do whatever I can to protect you. Anybody else? I'll answer these questions all day long. So
We need to move on. We'll have some time afterwards.
perfect.
Darren, thank you. Any questions for Sylvia about the trap release workshop? How about Ed Council about, oh, excuse me. Sylvia, come on out.
Hi, Sylvia. If we can't attend, will that be taped by any chance that we could access it later?
You know, we were not planning that, or we haven't considered it, but now that you ask, I will find out if we can do that. Good idea. Thank you.
Sylvia, I was wondering, doesn't Wyoming Untrapped have a video on trap release available online?
They do. If you go to the Wyoming Untrapped website, they have a whole huge section on all of these things. So that is a possibility. But I will check on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ed about AREPSC? Questions for Emma Jones about the Rocky Mountain Power Integrated Resource Plan meeting? All right, for Kathleen Selmer about postcards. Or for Mike Selmer about the Laramie Valley Jackalopes and Thanksgiving Downhill Mile. All right, or for Rain Goins about Young Democrats of Wyoming. All right, Aaron O'Doherty about Interfaith. Or questions for Klaus about Albany County Democrats. Or Wendy Chatham about West Side changes. All right, we're on a downhill slide now. How about for Suzanne Lure about Home on the Range Family Fun Fair? Or Eric Sandine about Heart Mountain Resistors? Or for Eric Henderson, Trunk or Treat in Laramie? I've run out of cards. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. We'll see you next month.